Hello there, I'm the Uneducated Businessman, and we're talking about project management and how to assemble your team in this video. And before you assemble a team, you need to understand your role first. Are you the project manager? Are you the project team leader? Or are you both? Potentially, you could be both. And you need to know what tasks you're going to have to be reporting to the owner of the business, a sponsor, or you as the owner, if you are the owner and you're the team leader, manager, whatever. What you're going to have to what you're going to have to get from your team. Before you recruit this team, you're going to have to know what you're going to get from them. So you're going to have to identify. I'd write these down. You're going to have to identify your resources you're going to need. You're going to have to identify who the participants are going to be. You're going to have to get some names down of who you think you're going to need within this team to help you. You're going to have to work out how you're going to coordinate all the activities within the project. You're going to have to make time. If you're not the owner, if you're the manager, if you're the team leader, you're going to have to make time to negotiate with the high level management. Especially the person who is responsible for this project, who's maybe sponsoring the project, the company owner, etc. You're going to have to put in place an allocation for managing conflicts. You're always going to have a conflict in a team, and you're going to have to work out how and when it's best for you to manage the conflict. So you're going to have to start thinking about this before you get your team together. Set milestones as well. Make sure that you take time to work out certain milestones of each project, where you want to hit certain targets, and document it. Just get it down on paper before you assemble your team, before you start the project. We've talked about budget before. We talked about how to budget. You should have your budget by now. Have that to hand so you know what sort of constraints of a budget you're working towards. Make sure you have a plan in place to keep on track. It's so important when you're recruiting your team. You're going to get people within your organization that do have the ability to work to deadlines. You need to know your key staff. You need to know who is coming in, and it's going to be difficult as well, because you may not have authority over everybody that comes into the project. You may have people from IT, you may have people from accounts, you may have people from sales, all coming in, and you may work in one of those areas, one of those fields, but not all of them. But you may be tasked to manage this project. And obviously, if you've got people coming in from different departments who don't normally report to you, that's going to mean you're going to need extra leadership qualities, because these people will be coming in. They're not looking at you as the initial manager, but you are on this project. So you're going to have to really sharpen your pencil when it comes to how you're going to lead people that you don't directly manage on a day-to-day basis. So you're going to have to think about that as well. And once you get that structure in place, and you work out how you're going to manage, how you're going to liaise with these people, then you've got more of an understanding of who you're going to need within this team, who's going to work best with you. And sometimes it's about getting the people that work best with you rather than the best people, in my opinion. I've often had scenarios where I'm managing things where I want the person that's going to be working best with me rather than the best person, because quite often if the person comes in and they're not a good fit for you, and they're going to be butting heads with you, they're going to be kicking back all the time, they're going to be creating problems. Do you want to work with that person, or do you want to manage someone that's going to work well with you, is going to be, I'm not talking about a yes person here, someone who's constantly yes, and just doing what you need them to do or want them to do because they're scared to say anything, and they don't want to stand up for themselves, and they're quite meek and mild. You don't want that. You want someone who's going to challenge you to a certain extent, but you're also going to want someone that's going to or you're going to want to work with a team that want to work with you. You know, I find in the past, if I've got someone who is constantly pushing back, who's constantly causing problems, it's better to move them out and bring someone else in who's more adaptable to the team, who's more willing to be fluid and take on board what you want to happen within the project. And I find in life it's much easier to work with people who are on the same page as you than work with people that aren't. You do want an element of pushing back sometimes, because at the end of the day you're not always right as a manager, and you want people that will put their hand up and say, I think this is the way forward. And that's great, that's what you're looking for. You're not looking for someone who's just going to come in and this is wrong, that's wrong, and literally push back and cause a bottleneck within the project. So you've got to be careful on who you bring in. You got to look at their personalities as well. You got to look at your ability to manage them, to lead them. And that's why leadership is a very, very, very important skill to have when you're managing your project. And if you haven't checked out the leadership playlist, go on and have a look at that, because leadership is going to get you over the line. You know, if you've got lots of, the hardest thing in the world is managing people. You know, everything will be easy if you didn't have to manage people. It's very, very difficult to manage. It's very difficult to lead, and it's a skill. It's a skill that you need to develop. You know, so you're going to have to regularly communicate with these people. You're going to have to let them know the progress. You're going to have to let them know problems. You're going to have to periodically assess their progress and their outlook on things as well. You know, and if you've got people pushing back all the time, it's going to be really difficult. But if you've got people that are open-minded, if you've got people that are willing to learn, willing to take on board, but will still stand up for themselves and will highlight things, that's going to be a dream team. That's going to help you. That's going to help you get the people you need to bring this project forward. So you need to list out all these things that you're going to have to look for within people, and you're going to then have to put your team together, and we'll talk about in the next videos how to do this and how to get the right people for the right job. But for now, it's just a case of working out what you're going to need, when you're going to need it, who you're going to need, what sort of attributes you want from your team. If you're not responsible for these people per se, how you're going to manage them, how you're going to lead them. You know, are they going to be coming in, you're not my manager, and kicking back and pushing and causing a problem for you? Are they the right people? Do you need to look elsewhere? You know, maybe they are the right people. Maybe your leadership will be able to put them in place and bring them forward. And you know, if you get everybody contributing and make sure everybody's voice is heard, you can take on people with problems. Well, not problem. That's probably the wrong word to say. They're not got problems, but you can take on people that don't have the personality, or they're not in the right, what's the word I'm trying to look for? They're not maybe best suited to you as a leader. You can take them on if you manage them correctly. So I wouldn't overlook everybody, but in my opinion, if you want to hit the ground running and you want to get off to a better start, you're better off working with people that want to work with you from day one. It's easier. And why make it hard for yourself when you can make it easy by selecting the right people? So putting your team together is very, very important, and putting a good team together is very important, and how you get these people in and lead them is incredibly important. And as a team leader, manager, you're going to have to play probably 6 roles. You're going to have to be the initiator. You're going to have to identify actions that meet the project goals. You know, that's going to be really, really important for you, and you're going to have to make sure the members take on these actions and they know what they're doing. You know, you're going to have to model. You're going to have to demonstrate the behaviour. So you're going to have to be the person that they model themselves on. You know, and I talked about this in other videos. When you want to be successful, you model yourself on successful people. And if you want people in your team being successful, you've got to be the role model. You've got to be leading. You've got to be demonstrating a behaviour that supports the project's success. And if you do that, and they model you, then they will come through and they will be better for you within that team. Yeah, makes sense. And you've also got to be a negotiator. You know, you're dealing with lots of people. They're going to have different ideas. They're going to have different needs. They're going to have different wants. You're going to have to obtain the resources and you needed for the project, and you've got to work with other teams, as I've said. So there's going to be a lot of negotiation going on. You've got to really sharpen your skills when it comes to negotiating as well, leading and negotiating. And a great way to do that is be the listener. If you can be the listener, you know, I've said before, you've got two of these and one of these. And a lot of times as leaders and managers and project managers, we're too willing to talk. We're too willing to put our view on everything. And you've got these people around you, and these people want to be listened to. And if you can spend time to listen to them and learn from them as well and bring in their ideas, they will respect you so much as a leader. And even if they're coming in from a different team and you're not their manager and they're not maybe used to you as a manager, if you listen to them, it's a great way to get started. It's a great way to build really good rapport with people and maybe bring people in that aren't seemingly a good fit. Listen to them, be the role model, be the negotiator, be the initiator, and let them see you as this huge person that knows what they're doing, and then fall in and model you. You know, and you're probably going to have to be a coach as well. You know, you got people in there. They're not going to have. Everyone's different. You know, some people are going to come into your team and they're going to be, I've got all the ideas, I know what to do, blah, 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 blah. And there's going to be other team members that maybe have the ideas, but a little bit more, they're quieter. They don't want to put their input in because they're worried about what other people will think, etc. And you've got to coach them to come out of themselves and give you what you need. You know, 9 times out of 10, you know, I know this from being a coach. People always have the ideas. They always have the answers, you know, but they sometimes need it brought out of them. And I know this from businesses I coach. You know, if I coach a business owner, they've always got the answers. You know, they look to me for the answers in a lot of cases, but I always put it back on them because they know the business a lot better than I do. They've always got the answers. And as a coach, I can bring those answers out of people. And when they give you the answers, when they have that light bulb moment and it's ping, I know what to do, they always take ownership of it. They always execute on it. If I tell them what to do, a lot of the times it's, you know, wasted because they might not want to do that. It's not their idea. They might be sitting there nodding, that's a great idea, but in the back of their mind thinking, I know better and I actually do this job on a day-to-day basis. You know, I'm in charge of sales and I know what he's saying doesn't work and I know I've got a better way. But as a leader, if you're telling them what to do, they will possibly follow half-heartedly. But as a leader and as a coach, if you can extract from your team what's the best way forward, and they come up with the ideas, they're always take more responsibility and always give it more passion and more execution. So being a coach within that team, even as the leader, the manager, still be a coach, you will bring out so much more from your staff. And don't forget to work as a member within the team as well. You cannot sit there and boom, 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 you do all this and, you know, put your feet up and watch them do it. That's not a way, that's not a model, that's not a role model. They're not going to look up to you because of that. They're not going to want to emulate you. They're not going to want to rise up and support you and be there every step of the way with you. You know, you're going to have to get in areas. You're going to have to share some of the work. You're going to have to take on some, especially some of the tricky areas. You know, some of the ones where people are struggling, where an extra special bit of competence is needed. You're going to have to come in. You're going to have to get your hands dirty. You're going to have to do something to show them that you know and you can do it. And if you can get all of that, there's a lot there, but if you can get all of that down on paper before you integrate your team and work out how you're going to coach them, how you're going to listen to them, how you're going to negotiate with them, how you're going to be the role model for them so they can model you, and how you're going to be the person that initiates things, you've got a really good basis of starting this project on getting off to a flying start. Because when you bring your team in, when you've got all of that in place and you know how you're going to do that, your team will instantly respect you, they're going to instantly want to follow you, and they're going to instantly want to give you their all. And that's what you want as a manager. Every great manager has a great team, and every great team, will follow a great manager all the way from start to finish. As long as you stay involved, as long as you stay active, as long as you're listening, as long as you're coaching, as long as you're being a role model, they will follow you from here to the ends, and back again, if you're going to get them to where they need to go. And that's another thing, actually. Always try and understand where your team want to go. Because if you're the project manager and if you're the team leader and you can get them to where they want to go through your projects, game over. They will always follow you. Everyone wants to achieve something in life. Everyone wants to win at something. And if you can listen and find out where they want to go and help them get there, they will always follow you. Now, you might not be able to help them within that particular project because it may be completely off key to where they want to go. And you don't want to obviously help them within that project, because we talked about project scope before, where the project can get just so big because everyone's got their own little way of wanting to do things. No. But if you can find out where they want to go within the company, and you can help me with this project, and then once this project is done, we can sit down and we can talk about where you want to go with this, and maybe we can work on another project to help you get there. As long as you follow through, as long as they know you will follow through, they will help you. It's a win-win. And everyone in life, if you can get win-wins, that's the best way to go forward. I hope that was helpful. I'm the uneducated business. I was going to say I'm the project manager then. Got it in my brain. I'm the uneducated businessman. I'll be back with another video on project management. We'll continue with this theme for a while, and how to build out our team and get a really tight, solid team for success. Take care. Over and out.